Been a lot of work, right? A lot of work over the years to get to that. That's very celebratory, right? And Martin the first, you're Martin the first. Let me show you all something too. I don't think I posted this on my. This is gonna bother me. I have an undershirt on. It's gonna bother me the entire live stream. Gotta see which way the camera is headed. But I got received an award today. So I want you all to do this as you are coming in. I put some emojis in from AKA, right? Alpha Kappa Alpha, the ladies in that sorority, the women in that organization. Gave me an award today as you all are coming in. Go ahead and say hello and drop your city and state, right? Or if you don't want to drop your city and state, just come in and say hello. Might want to give your name. Okay. As I pull up this award, I don't think I posted this on my YouTube, so let me put it up on Facebook. The picture. This is my award from the ladies of Alpha Kappa Alpha. Alpha Kappa Alpha. All right, definitely don't want to get that wrong. Alpha Kappa Alpha. So if you were watching this, I want you to put some green and pink emojis in, right? For Alpha Kappa Alpha, aka organization. I'm not an AKA, but I am very thankful for the award presentation, right? And I do have some people that tell me, sometimes, Queen, you say you don't do credit repair for people in Mississippi in your state, et cetera, et cetera, where I do help out family and friends in the state of Mississippi. And this is why I don't focus solely on Mississippi, right? Is because I want my place of residence to be a place of peace, right? And I don't want to have to go to the grocery stores and bump into someone who wants to talk about credit, So I don't do it in the area of Mississippi that I live in, its proximity, right? I have helped people in southern and northern Mississippi, but not in central Mississippi. So that's number one. And so I received this award today for building an economic legacy and economic empowerment in the state of Mississippi. So that's that picture to show you that I do empower and help my home state, the state of Mississippi. So if you're watching live, whether you're watching this on a replay, I do want you to put the pink and green hearts in the emojis, or just something pink and green to say congratulations. On top of that, Jesus is correct. 18,000 subscribers today, right? 18,000 subscribers. So very happy with that. As I also going to get you all in the 5 minutes of fame. I'll drop your city and state, and I'll just say hello. So we got Georgia in the Critic and Cash Flow room. What kind of emoji? Anything pink and green, preferably pink and green hearts, right? Hello to you. My email address is, if you've been trying to email me, it's ld@fixmycreditandcash.com. That's my email address, so you can definitely email me at ld@fixmycreditandcash.com. We have Spiritual Man in from the Periscope, aka Twitter. In March, Periscope will be Twitter or tweeting. So hello, Spiritual Man. I always tell you, I don't know if that's your personal avatar picture or profile picture, but a handsome profile picture it is. We got Savannah, Georgia in, Kimberly Bryant. We have a Ridgeland, right? There is a Ridgeland, Mississippi as well. So Ridgeland, South Carolina is in the Credit and Cash Flow room. Peace from Baltimore, right? We have Baltimore in. And Wanda, I already gave the emojis. I see the pink. She did pink and red emoji. So on Periscope, if you're trying to email me. That email address again is ld@fixmycreditandcash.com, right? ld@fixmycreditandcash.com. Now, as we have reached the 5-minute mark, do you all want to see a video of the day, right? North Carolina is in. We may take this as the joke of the day or video of the day, but Donald Trump, right, has released a video, a summary on Twitter that I just saw, stating that he shares a video suggesting that the Rona, right, pandemic was created to make him look bad and lose the election, right? So let's start off with a video of the day, right? This is not on topic, but it will lead us into the topic of discussing the stimulus. We're going to talk about the stimulus, and then we're going to get into the spiritual sector of it. I'm telling you, you want to stay all the way in to the end of this live stream, because we are going to discuss why prayer or praying, right, does not produce prosperity. We're really going to discuss the church and some of the churches and some of the methods that they teach about concerning prosperity, right? It's often taught to give, right? However, people don't know how to receive, or they don't know how to harvest. In the church world, it's called sowing and reaping, but a lot of people don't know how to reap in the church, right? If you know any current church news, you know that Joel Osteen, the pastor of the mega church out of Houston, Texas, received $4.4 million, right? PPP loan. His church qualified for it. And other churches in the area did as well. About 1,500 other organizations received up to $1 million in the Houston area. And if you know anything about Joel Osteen, he lives in a mansion, right? He has a mansion, have private jets, right? And again, he's over the mega church. And so we're going to discuss that. And also another church out of Dallas, Texas, that received millions in PPP loans as well, that was accused of buying a jet with them. Now, I will make this disclaimer. I am very careful about what I say about the church, because the Bible states or quotes to touch not my anointed ones and do my prophets no harm. So I am careful, but I'm going to break down some prosperity principles for you, so that if you believe that the Bible is a book about banking, if you believe the Bible is a book about prosperity, and you want to know why you are not receiving those, if you are a giver, if you don't give to the church, right, then you don't have a dog in this fight. But if you are a giver and you may not know why it is not working for you, then I'm going to give you some insight, or as the church would say, revelation, as to why it may not be. So I want you all to do this. Let's take care of our do nows. I want you all to notify people that I am live streaming. So if you're on YouTube, hit the thumbs up, right? Get out of the live chat real quick, hit the thumbs up. You are on Periscope, share, invite your friends and followers. Tap that screen if you're on your phone, or show some digital love some type of way. Tap those hearts. And if you are watching live on Facebook, also hit the like button and share this to your personal page, right? And hit those hearts and show some digital love as well. Spiritual man, you say the Potter's house. Now, something about these pastors that own mega churches, right? Joel Osteen, TD Jakes, for example, what people don't know is that they are businessmen, and much of their millions come from their books. They write books, their assets, right? Their investments. And one thing that I can say about TD Jakes and the Potter's House is that TD Jakes had a series. I don't think it's available anymore, but the series was titled To Maximize the Moment, right? To Maximize the Moment. And these series at the time, if you are young, you probably don't know what I'm speaking of, but they were in VHS tapes, right? Not CDs, but it was VHS tape series titled Maximize the Moment. And in this, TD Jakes does break down practical methods and strategies, like investing in the stock market, like breaking down the S&P 500's return. He broke down practical things to do other than just tithe to receive your prosperity. So I will give Bishop T.D. Jakes that credit. I believe he teaches that to his congregation about the practical principles. I cannot say that all churches, teach that, or the majority of churches teach that, but I will say, and he probably had to take that product off the market simply because it could have been misconstrued as giving people investing advice in the stock market. So I will give that to T.D. Jakes. So I'm not against mega pastors. Joel Osteen, he does not accept the salary from his church, right? But I do feel like that some of that has to do with business practices as well. For example, if he accepts a salary, then he's taxed, right? The salary is in the agreements to pay him up to $200,000 a year, so he's taxed upon that income. However, if he just take the income from the church and purchases his assets outright, right? He purchased the jet, purchased the vacations, right? The luxury lifestyle, then it's a great tax strategy, because you do know that all money that comes into the church is tax-free money, right? It's tax-free money. So yes, that's what we're talking about. Joel Osteen received $4.4 million from the PPP loans. Well, he didn't receive it. Let's just go ahead, since we're on the topic anyway. I can show you all the Trump video at the end of this, but we can go ahead and get into the church. Joel Osteen's church receives $4 million. And this is about 6 days ago. So let's go ahead. Okay, Jesus says he actually agrees with Trump by making him look bad. Okay, so we'll get on Joel Osteen real quick. Are they asking me to subscribe to pull up this article? Wow, people over 75, essential workers are next in line for the vaccine. So Joel Osteen, okay, let me pull another article. I don't think this is going to allow me to show and share. If you've been following the church, however, you know Pastor Paula White, who let me cut the sound like that. So you know Pastor Paula White was for Trump, and let's see what this video is stating.
Protection Program loan. The loan received by Osteen's Lakewood Church was the first time federal lawmakers provided direct financial assistance for a house of worship, the Houston Chronicle reported. As part of the Federal CARES Act that gave coverage to employers to pay for employee wages and other operational costs and needs during the coronavirus pandemic, Lakewood Church received the third highest loan in the Houston area, according to the Houston Business Journal, citing federal data.
All right, so they received the third highest loan. Again,
hang a picture.
It was over 1,500 churches that did receive that loan. His church, $4.4 million from PPP. The media, as this reads, are full of stories about celebrity-owned companies, right, that have received these paycheck protection loans as well. A lot of people are asking, do we think that's right? So we got Tom Brady, his company, who's reportedly the highest, second highest paid NFL player in history, received almost $1 million. Napa Valley Restaurant, French Laundry received $2.4 million loan. Is it ethical that dozens of charitable foundations, such as San Francisco-based Walt Disney Foundation and New York-based Robert Mapplethorpe Foundation, each with hundreds of millions in assets, were able to get PPP loans, or that the pastor Joel Osteen's famous Lakewood Church in Houston also received $4.4 million in loan. And so you got Kanye West, Guns N' Roses, the Eagles, Pearl Jam, they also got loans, right? So it is a difference. And for the people that screaming Republican Democrats, you got Nancy Pelosi's husband and Mitch McConnell's wife also got funding. Did you all know that? Right? Because we are going to talk about the stimulus, right? Imagine a business. Well, church is a business. Let's just be honest. Church is a business, right? Madden says, or Charles, I'm going to call you Charles, says his house is worth $40 million. And then back then his dad was for the people. Well, let me ask you all something. What about Nancy Pelosi's husband and Mitch McConnell's wife? What about Tom Brady? Do we put different expectations on other millionaires or sports celebrities, right? Kanye West, Guns N' Roses, right? Why is it different when it comes to churches or charitable foundations? So go ahead and answer that for me. Also, now these loans were pretty much available to any business, and yes, even religious institutions and charitable foundations are businesses. They had fewer than 500 employees, right? So this is what Joel Osteen said, that the money was used to pay his church that has 321 employees along with their families that rely on this income for their livelihoods. So again, his church attendees were limited, right, in the past few weeks due to the shutdown. So they finally applied for the PPP loan, and they have been able to provide full salaries, including health insurance coverage to all their employees and their families, right? So he got the loan to keep his 321 employees employed, right? So again, we can make the argument about Kanye West, Tom Brady. However, these funds were available from the federal government, right? Is it wisdom? Is it wisdom to do that, to keep his 325 employees, right? So Curtis says that it should be no difference. But let's break down why prayer. Well, we'll start here first, right? And then we'll get into the stimulus package. We'll get into the stimulus. A lot of people are disgruntled or upset, saying that the $300 is not enough, right? That the $300 is not enough, and that the stimulus is peanuts. It's a joke. So we're going to discuss the stimulus as well at the tail end, and then we're also going to watch that video or view that video by Donald Trump saying that he believes that he was set up, right, with this crisis. So let's look at Joel Osteen personal wealth. I think this is where some people have an issue with this. So let's look at his personal wealth. Now, he's reported to be worth 40 million and 60 million, between 40 and 60 million dollars. He lived with his family in a 17,000 square foot mansion in River Oaks, which is estimated at 10.5 million, right? So let's look at his net worth. But we're missing out that he is a businessman. Let me scoot over some. And he is an author, right? Some people say more than that. So Joel Osteen net worth and salary, American preacher who has a net worth of 100 million. Joel Osteen is most famous for being pastor of Lakewood Church. He was, we're not going to talk about his birthplace. So Lakewood Church has grown exponentially. It's seen in 100 different countries. He expanded the church and TV ministry around the globe. He has about 50,000 attendees every week, right? And it's on average, his TV sermons are seen by average to 7 million people per week, 20 million per month. So his father was the pastor of this church. He started this church, right? So now in August of 2017, this is where a lot of people get a lot of backlash with him. There was Hurricane Harvey, right? And so Osteen, he was strongly criticized for not making Lakewood Church available for emergency shelter in the immediate aftermath of Hurricane Harvey. The building, right, the church building is former basketball arena that stands at about 600,000 square feet, right? 600,000 square feet or square foot. So the church is usable. They want to use it for severe flooding. He said that, that there were roads leading to the church and that they could not, offer those services. But later on, he did open it up for Hurricane Harvey victims, right? So the mayor of Houston said that the church provided assistance to approximately 1,150 families, I think. And they donated, right, $1.1 million to rebuild materials, as well as putting up volunteers for their congregation. So Joel Osteen has book sales, he has a radio show, public speaking fees. He's a businessman. A church collection reported generated more than $70 million per year total revenue. So when asked about this income, he says a person should not feel guilty, right, for possessing material wealth. So when we look at it, again, they have a 17,000 square foot home, right? Him and his wife and their children reside in. They have jets. But when we look at it, there are, people on Periscope saying, told you, like we're a little child and play. It doesn't matter to me. That doesn't matter to me, right? Right. If the man is a businessman, right? What about King Solomon in the Bible? What about their wealth, right? What about Queen Elizabeth's wealth? What about Abraham's wealth, right? What about the wealthy patriarchs in the Bible? What about the woman in 2 Kings chapter 4 that was rich? And she was so rich that she added on a room in her home, right, for the prophet that was passing through. So material wealth, right, is not a mystery for people that serve God, right? For people that have a relationship with God, right? He said, look, you can have the earth, right? The cattle on 1,000 hills, they belong to me. So if you are my child or you are a part of me, just like your natural children, then you should look like me, right? In heaven, there are mansions. What's wrong with living with mansions on earth? In heaven, there are streets of gold. Why don't Christians have gold, right? Physical gold, right? Why don't Christians have the wealth of the Apostle Paul, for example, who was also a businessman? He was a tent maker, right? Women, Lydia in the Bible, who was a rich and wealthy woman who sold purple linen, right? And then you have Jesus' best friend. We hear about Lazarus, the poor man Lazarus, but we don't hear about Jesus' best friend who was rich, named Lazarus, who was Mary and Martha's brother, and whom Jesus raised from the dead. So why isn't the church teaching more about the biblical prosperity? So that when we see a pastor who's walking in this, we don't think, right, that it's unbiblical practices, right? Vegan woman says, I bet those who give 10% are struggling. And you're right. And you're absolutely right. And we're going to discuss why are people that's giving struggling, right? Bobby says his church has 3 gyms. Yeah, I would love that. I'm a basketball coach. I'm all for recreation and fun. And it should have 3 gyms, right? It used to be a NBA arena. It used to be home of the Houston Rockets. Why not have that so that your people that fellowship with you can come and enjoy themselves? Because did you all know, for example, men between the ages of 18 and 30 are at least attendees in the church? So what if you had gyms and recreational activity and things for men to do that would attract them to Christ, right? I think Jesus would be very fine with Joe. I think he's very fine with Joe. It's all about having your heart in the right way, right? Having your heart in the right way. And Easy, you are correct. And you know why the poor will be with us always? Because they don't have financial knowledge or IQ. And they don't want to practice money management, right? Let's break this down. I have some video clips for you all. Let me pull them up because I was expecting to get into this later. because we're going to break down, you're going to see exactly why people give and they're yet broke. Now, I will be honest with you all and transparent. Malachi 3 is taught incorrectly in most churches, right? Malachi 3 is taught incorrectly in most churches. Let me give a breakdown of Malachi 3. Malachi 3 was to the priests and to the people, right? God had given the people land. He gave them land. He gave them land. He said, all I want you to do with this land is to give 10% to the priests, because the priests had the duties of everyday 24/7 duties of the temple. In the Old Testament time, the people, we can go before God, have omissions of our sin or admit our sin. Then it was the priest's job to go before the church, right? The priest's job to go before the church and submit the sin to Jesus, and they had daily duties. So Jesus had given them that land, and he said, you know what? All I want you all to do is take this land, use this land, and give 10% to the priest. Now, a lot of people that tithe, that is not that situation, right? Where God has given them our land. But, of course, we have some people that, say God has given you the tithe, he's giving you a job, et cetera, et cetera. But the priest had everyday, all day duties, right? Most pastors and priests do not have full-time duties today, or some of them like they did in that time, right? So let me mute. Okay. And so this is what's going on. Most pastors are part-time. However, the Bible still states that the workman is worthy of his reward. And in 2 Corinthians, even Paul brings out that there are some false pastors and false prophets. So you have two types of pastors. You have one pastor that teaches a prosperity message, right? Then you have pastors that teach a poverty message, pastors that inform you or tell you that you don't need those material things, right? That to put things in perspective, right? That you should not seek after that, but you should seek the spiritual things. Well, why would you seek spiritual things when God said you can have both? I mean, why would you just seek spiritual things when biblically God said you can have both? You can have the spiritual and you can have the material. So okay, so Madam Champ, if this happened to your mother, people have to have wisdom. You have to have wisdom. Listen, I ask all the time, why would a church, for example, only pay certain positions in the church, like musicians, like the pastor's salary, like the associate pastor salaries, right? But they don't pay the ushers, for example, or the people that work the youth ministry, for example, or the people that's over the advertising, or people that's over the marketing for the church, right? Sometimes the marketing department gets paid as well. So we're just not in a format where the church understands that its staff, and those staff that contribute their hours or duties, right, should be compensated. And so you have employees of a church, especially a mega church like that. It takes employees. Again, he's employed 321 people. However, in the smaller churches, they feel like musicians only should get paid, right? Because they know that music, especially in the Black and brown churches, is what makes or break a church, is what have attendees. But what's the difference between a musician and the person that's working the youth ministry, or the person that's ushering, right? Because we look at David, and David said, I'd rather be a doorkeeper in the house of God. So why do we devalue the doorkeeper versus the musician? So I do question that sometimes, right? Are the singers in the church, right? Those who sing, what's the difference between the singers and the musician? Well, again, people or pastors know that as long as that music is beating, as long as the organist and the drums are beating, that the church, if it's good, that the church seats are going to be filled. So again, let's look at some of this and break this down, because It's two ways to look at this. Number one, for the churches that are teaching how to harvest, right? They're not teaching it correctly. And that's why most people are not experiencing a harvest when they give. All right, so let me break down. I have on these videos exactly what time that I want to start them at for time's sake. So let's stop right here. I'm gonna share this video. Easy, I'm really just probably gonna bypass your comments because I'm not even gonna go to this mindset with you tonight, right? Go to the minority channel, someone that teaches about poverty, because that's where your mindset is, right? But again, I'm proud to have people on my live stream that's commenting that's not even tithers at church. So, what's your problem with the church? You're not giving to it anyway. So this is for people who want to know how to reap the biblical blessings of prosperity. So let's watch this video.
Woo! 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 Get some anointing. You put some up here. Woo! Woo! Put some anointing on this money. You put something up here. You put Woo! Prosper, I said. Woo! 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 Hey! Woo! Woo! Hallelujah! Hey! Your bills are paid.
You want your bills paid? Throw money at their feet so they can dance in it.
So this is one way that is taught and correct in Rome, right? And a lot of people, they want, and I'm going to show you another video, right? They want to treat giving in God in churches like it's a genie, right? Like God is a casino, right? Let me show you this other video. Let me show you. I have a couple of videos to show you, and I'm going to show you why. We're going to break down why this doesn't work. Why isn't your giving working, right? Why isn't your giving working? So let me break down this other video.
Making in their 20s, they bought.
And I'm started pulling back to the mark. And this is not to make fun of the church, it's not to criticize it, but we're going to talk about, for people that give, why your giving is not working, right? Thank you so much. Why your giving may not be working. Do you have the wrong mindset? Do you know the biblical principles? Do you think I should get unexpected checks in the mail? God will zero out my debt. He'll bind the hands of the debt collector. God told me to do this ministry, so he should fund it. Did he really? So let's talk about these mishaps and beliefs, right? Or teaching that I think is stopping people from reaching the prosperity that God says we should have on earth, right? He wants us to rule and reign on earth. That's why a lot of people are not into the Christianity or the gospel. They haven't accepted God, because why, when the church depicts poor people that's struggling to pay bills, then you have other churches who showing mega prosperity, and people want churches to remain poor, right? Why it's fine for Kanye West and Tom Brady to live in mansions and to get PPP loans, but when it's a church, then the mindset changes. Or you have the other side of the church where you have people that's members and struggling and paying bills, and they're always struggling financially. And the biblical principles, and they're not experiencing the wealth of Abraham or King Solomon or Esther, Queen Esther, or Lydia or Apostle Paul. They're not experiencing this wealth. And why not? Why not? God said everything on this earth belongs to him. All the assets, all the lands, all the real estate, all the fiscal, all the gold. Gold and silver is not man-made. It's God's money. It's God-made. Why isn't the church accumulating it? Why don't they have it? Right? Why do rich and wealthy people have assets? Why do rich and wealthy people know what true assets are? And the church doesn't. Right? Why? Thank you so much. You got to be led. But, no, gospel is not just about salvation. It's not just about salvation. We're going to destroy these mindsets. Gospel is about, if you're accepting Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, or whoever, you are supposed to be able to possess what he put on earth for you to possess. So let's break this down. Right? Let's break this down. You all want to get into it early, so here we go. I have a whole gallon of water beside me because I felt like this would be a pretty lengthy and teaching live stream, right?
You're going to the same places, but it don't feel the same no more. You're trying to do the stuff you did, but you can't bounce back like you used to. You're trying to twerk and you can't get back up because you had to put on a few pounds. You can't drink like you used to because you got those projects due, and it gets to be overwhelming to where a woman just throws her hands up in the air and says, Lord, take it away, Jesus. Take it away. Lord, I'm going to leave it to you. The pastor said that live your best life. The pastor quoted some verses and scriptures that I interpreted that if I just sit here and patiently wait on the Lord will provide. It's not my time. It's this other person's time. They take that prosperity gospel that's preached that makes God a genie, a cosmic Santa Claus, and not the God of faith without works is dead.
Let me rewind that. He said prosperity gospel that's teach that makes God a genie.
God a genie. A cosmic Santa Claus.
Cosmic Santa Claus.
And not the God of faith without works is dead. Mm-hmm. Not the Old Testament God. Not the God that actually requires you to get out and do work. No. This God is just there to fulfill wishes. He's an eternal lottery ticket. And they turn it over to God. And they're in church. Doing church things. They live in worldly lives. They're still dating. She's not going to stop dating. She's having her itch scratched somewhere.
All right. So then you have these other people that make, like you said, got an eternal lottery ticket. All right. I got one more video. I can't prepare for you all today. I can't prepare for you all because you all don't understand taking out my time to research, find the videos, to read about this, to meditate about this. It takes a lot of energy, right? And it takes a lot of effort. And then when you are breaking into the mindset of people, right? And, we're into the Great Depression. This is why I wanted to do this. We are entering into Great Depression 2.0. So when I have some, right, the Roman Catholic Church has plenty, right. Roman Catholic Church has plenty of gold. They understand, but why especially other churches, and I'm not going to call our church religion. But other churches, why others, especially in the Black and brown churches and community. So when you see someone like a T.D. Jakes and Joel Osteen, who are businessmen who preach and teach, you don't know how to accept that because you are used to a pastor who works a part-time job and is struggling financially, right? And that's all you're accustomed to. You can't, and let me tell you something, people. If you never sow up, you won't ever grow up. And I'm talking about financially. If you want to just give to people on your level, you're always going to stay on that level, right? And so, yeah, I can, Jesus, can you just block Easy off the live stream? Easy is the man that worked 3 jobs. And I won't even get into that. I'm not even gonna get into that because that could be a low blow. So we know what type of decisions Easy make, right? So Zeus, if you're still on here, can you just block Easy or somebody? Or I'll block him if Zeus is not longer on here. So let's look at this other video, right? I don't have time for ignorance.
All he taught was the kingdom. Now he went to hell.
So let me rewind this. or distractions coming in, right? You know, I have to
They
dominate
get to
your
serve
distractions.
us. Well, how do you get this kingdom to function on you? I brought the scripture up because I wanted to just show you that all Christ really thought about was the kingdom. Now, before he died, he preached the kingdom for 3.5 years, and all he taught was the kingdom. Now he went to hell, he got the keys, he rose again. Now, this is after the resurrection. Let's read what it says in verse 2 of Acts 1. It says, after his suffering, that's Calvary, he showed himself to these men and gave many convincing proofs of his being alive. That was what? His resurrection. He appeared to them over what? A period of 40 days. That means after he was raised from the dead, he was on earth for 40 days talking to these guys. Read the last statement. What does it say? And he spoke to them about what? One subject, the kingdom of God. He didn't talk about Calvary, didn't talk about the blood, didn't talk about even the resurrection. Because Calvary, the blood, and resurrection were the means to the end of getting the kingdom back in them.
That's for the people that's on here saying Jesus is the true religion. See, that's the problem. That's the problem. Religion is the problem. Religion is the problem. See, it's a difference between religion and people that practice kingdom principles. Let's rewind this, what Dr. Miles Monroe said, right? Religion is the problem. Religion. Not people that want to be kingdom citizens. People that want to be religious Christians is the problem. You tell a Christian that Jesus never talked about in the Bible, the blood, the resurrection, right? That's what churches religiously celebrate. You will have an uproar. And these are the people that can't pay their bills. Religious-minded, religious-focused people. So let me rewind this, right? But yet biblically, they can't find any evidence that this is true, but they'll contest to you that it should be done.
Right? That's Calvary. He showed himself to these men and gave many convincing proofs of his being alive. That was what? His resurrection. He appeared to them over what? A period of 40 days. That means after he was raised from the dead, he was on earth for 40 days talking to these guys. Read the last statement. What does it say? And he spoke to them about what? One subject, the kingdom of God. He didn't talk about Calvary, didn't talk about the blood, didn't talk about even the resurrection. Because Calvary, the blood, and resurrection were the means to the end of getting the kingdom back in them. That's why Christianity is such a depressing religion. Because we sing a lot, but we can't pay our bills.
Let me stop there. See, and biblical-based preaching. Sing a lot, can't pay your bills.
Because we sing a lot, but we can't pay our bills. I mean, that's frustrating to say, I got the victory, I got the victory, and then you ain't got none when you go home. Something ain't right. Come on, let's stop fooling ourselves, man. I'm a king's kid, but you can't pay your mortgage. I mean, something's wrong with those two statements. If your father's a king, you can at least pay off your house.
Yep. You serving a king who has a place prepared for you. He said it's many mansions. And you had a problem with a pastor living in a mansion on earth? He tell you the streets, the asphalt is paved with gold. And you can't pay your mortgage? That's a problem. Let's listen on.
That's why Jesus told the disciples, to the Pharisees, he says, you know something? You guys know the scriptures, but you wouldn't enter the kingdom or wouldn't let the people enter. And then oh boy, I better not use that because y'all ain't gonna forgive me. Anyhow, he says, woe. Woe means damned. He cursed them. Who were they? Religious leaders. What were they doing? Keeping the people out of the kingdom living.
So when I say kingdom living, he said keeping people out of kingdom living. That's where you get the prayer from. Our kingdom come, your will be done on earth on this earth as it is in heaven. Now, I don't blame slaves, right? Slaves, they were in a very torturous situation. So the slaves, their mindset was, I want to leave this earth. Let's look forward to heaven. But Jesus came. He died because he wanted to bring his kingdom, heaven to earth. And all of those who accepted his kingdom, who accepted this, he wanted you to portray that lifestyle, not only spiritually, not only mentally, not only emotionally, but financially as well. How can you worship a king and have a problem with the king's things? Right? How can you worship a king and have a problem with the king's things? What are you going to do when you go to heaven? Are you going to tell Jesus, look, I have a problem with living in a mansion. I don't want a mansion. Where's the shack house up here? Is that what you're going to ask God? I just don't think pastors should live in heaven and live in mansions. And I want the shack house. Now, God, you got these streets covered with gold. And I just think that's a waste of gold to use it for asphalt. And I think that these streets should be just like the streets on earth. We want black, cheap asphalt. Is that what you're gonna have a problem with? Why should your earthly home or possessions look anything different than the heavenly possessions? Right? Why should that? Why should that be? Let me give you another reason, another biblical principle. I'm going to give you 4 why prayer doesn't produce prosperity. What many people don't know, right? What many people do not know. What do you need to produce prosperity? Number 1, you need a true prophet. A prophet. A prophet? I need a prophet, queen? Yeah. Look at 2 Kings chapter 4. When the widow woman, Madden, I'm about to block you as well. I'm not going to answer stupid questions tonight. I'm staying on topic. I'm not going to get off my topic about prosperity. See, when you start talking about this stuff, all type of little lurks and evil spirits and distractions come in. So you have to stay distracted, right? You have to stay away from distractions. That's the little, spirits that come in when you start talking about. I'm not talking about it's eating pork and sin. I'm talking about money, prosperity. Money, when you even say eat, it makes you smile. That's what I'm talking about. Biblical prosperity. That's all I'm talking about until we get on the stimulus, right? Number 1, you need a prophet or a mentor, right? So this is the problem. In 2 Kings chapter 4, there was a widow woman who her sons were about to be sold into slavery because her husband had just died. Her son's father had just died, right? And left them in bad debt. So she went to the prophet in which her husband served. See, this shows you can be a Christian and be broke. You can do all the right spiritual things and suffer financially because you don't know how to enter into the kingdom principles. You know how to practice religious Christianity. It's a difference. Religion, Christianity is different than kingdom principles and concepts. Religion tells you have to beg and plead, right? Kingdom citizenship tells you are a citizen. You have the right to request and it be done to you. See, it's just like when you are a citizen of the United States, you have that right that if laws are broken to you or applied to you on earth, right, to call 911, call the police, call the military or in your defense to get things done. See, Christianity says, I'm a soldier in the army of the Lord. Religion never ask you to fight your battles. There are principles and things in place to fight for you. Christianity makes you do the fighting. That's not what kingdom citizenship does. It tells you to call your angels and let them fight on your behalf. It never asks you to be a soldier, right? Never asks you to do any fight, but they march and saying that I'm a soldier in the army of the Lord. God never asked you to fight for it. He things in place. So in 2 Kings chapter 4, her husband died. They were broke, right? Broke, because her sons were about to be sold into slavery, and a prophet came upon the scene. A prophet, right? So number two, a plan. A prophet could be the same thing as a mentor. A plan of action was put in place. People who fail to plan to fail. So now we have stimulus coming. Jobs are lost. People are saying this is not enough. $600 is not enough for me and my kids. I've lost my job, right? But they had, or some had, double that stimulus just several months ago, for 3 months. Some people had up to $800 to $1,000 weekly, had more money then for 3 months than they made from their jobs without working. Where was the money management in that? Where was the money management in that? See, God is not open casino. Unexpected checks in the mail, bills paid off, blessings and increase. Mortgage burning ceremonies where you bring your mortgage and you burn it in a pot at church and say, God is going to erase my debt. Is God a genie or is he a king? Where's your money management? Where's your financial education? Where's your desire to learn about finances? What's your desire? See, Robert Kiyosaki teaches more about biblical principles for wealth and prosperity than most churches do. Now, speaking of Robert Kiyosaki and Joel Osteen and T.D. Jakes, another asset that the church needs to know is being an author and publishing books. Robert Kiyosaki is a genius at publishing books. You got to have a plan. You got to have Joel Osteen published books. T.D. Jakes published books. And so when people see pastors that don't have that business mindset, they have a problem with it. These pastors don't even need the income of the people. They have their own businesses. T.D. Jakes it's the Potter's House, but then he has his brand name, T.D. Jakes Ministry. That if he didn't pastor one day, he can still continue to write books and public speaking and get paid handsomely. So you need a plan of execution. You need a prophet, a mentor, and a plan of execution. Let me share this video about the power of having a prophet, not a real prophet, right? A real prophet, someone in the financial realm that can give you financial mentorship to increase you financially, right? So let me share this video from one of my mentors and good friends on Facebook.
When you find a mentor and you got one that's gonna tell you the truth, they're not going to lie to you. They ain't gonna lie to you. Like the good one's not. That means this: if you are not doing things the way you're supposed to, your mentor is supposed to be able to check in and say, Kevin, or whoever you are, bro, you need to you're moving kind of crazy right now. Check yourself. A mentor gonna tell you that. And if they're a real mentor, they're not gonna try to destroy the relationship that y'all got just so they can be right. They're gonna tell you the truth. Like I got plenty of clients that I'm having a mentor in business, and y'all expectations are unrealistic. You wanna be rich in a year. I want you to reset your expectations and listen to what I'm saying carefully. When I went through my divorce and I was broke, do you think I went to ask broke people about money? No, I found a mentor Matter of fact, my mentor is a financial advisor, but he was my mentor too. So because my financial advisor was my mentor, he told me the truth. He told me, hey Kevin, people who get divorced, men and women, people who go through divorces, they have a hard time catching back up. So financially, you got to go out here and work your ass off and do whatever it takes. My mentor told me the truth, fact-based truth, not this opinion stuff. Look, I am not here to teach you hope, but I will tell you this: you're not going to be rich. Like this whole entrepreneur movement that happened, you're not going to be rich in a year. It don't work that way. Not when you really make money. I talked to someone earlier. One of my clients, talked to her. She knew her limitations as a business owner. But no one is telling you not to start a business. I'm just telling you that it's hard. It's not easy to run a business. I don't care what business you do. It's not easy. It take work. You're not gonna be able to manifest $1 million. You can pray, and then guess what? You gotta go do the work. Prayer only works when you work with it. So I really, really feel like a lot of people have fell in love with this prosperity preaching, and it sounds so wonderful. It makes me feel good. But is it adding anything to your pockets? If you look at your bottom line, if my mentor was telling me that I gotta hope my way to where I'm at, had he told me that, I would still be where I was when I got divorced. I would still be. I want you to understand this. If my mentor lied to, if this is a financial advisor. Now outside of finance, he's also my mentor. So if he lied to me about what it takes to really make it in this country in capitalism, if he lied to me, then I want to say this. I really want to get to this. My mentor sat down and told me that it's going to take you 5 to 7 years, Kevin, of hard work. Yeah, I want y'all to hear that second part. It's going to take you 5 to 7 years. So business owners, if you're looking to build a business, you should have started 2 years ago. LaTanya, you on here. How many years ago you started your business? And how successful are you? You're successful. But you didn't start it yesterday and say, hey, tomorrow, man, we finna go out and we finna make a whole lot of money off of this idea. Your idea is just as good as the work that you put with it. And that's just true. I can lie to you all day and say, hey, as you're working, when you start a business, you're gonna be rich, but not in 5 days. Not in 1 year, not in 2 years. Okay, look, so I'm gonna be transparent. I do people taxes. I do. So let's talk about how long it takes businesses to grow into what's called profit. Because we can talk about profit next, because then profit is part of telling the truth. We're telling the truth right now. Profit, it takes time to make a profit. This is what it means to make a profit. Let me tell you the work that goes into it. So let's say, for instance, you start like a pie company, which I did. You start a pie company, and it's not my company. It's a company. I didn't start it. Well, I did start it, but it's not my company. But say, for instance, you start a pie company. Do you think? I want y'all to tell me the truth. Do you think that if you sold, let's say, don't use sweet potato pies because that's the pie company. Let's just say if you made cherry pies. Now you make the best cherry pies. Your mama told you make the best cherry pies. Your sister told you, your brother, your uncle, your cousin. You got a good cherry pie. The cherry pie is good. But are your business processes meeting your value? So whenever you go out here to any store, you can buy a cherry pie. When you go to Walmart, you can buy cherry pie. When you go, put like this, with the sweet potato pie that we got, Patti LaBelle makes her pies in Walmart. They okay. That was just marketed good. But this is the thing. Patti LaBelle, honestly, didn't really make the pie. But that's another discussion. When you understand business, though, do you think Patti LaBelle was able to sell a pie in a month? You think she woke up and said, I got the best sweet potato pie, and I'm going to sell it, and I'm gonna make a profit in a month? What does profit mean? Profit means Let's say, for instance, you spend $10 on the pie to make the pie. You got to think about what are people willing to pay for your pie? Because what if people call your pie nasty? Everybody not gonna like your pie. So as a business owner, you got to go through those processes of being rejected. You think the only way you can speed that up is having more rejection, because the margins are the margins. Everybody not gonna tell you, yeah, they not. So get it out your mind that you're going to show up in what we do over here in business, because I'm an educator too. I do a lot. Don't think you're gonna show up to what we do in business and think that you're gonna be rich in even 2 or 3 years. You're not gonna be rich. You're gonna make money, but it's not being rich. And so what people feel, they don't have a strategy. And so that's what my mentor taught me. My mentor taught me to be truthful about, and fact-based truth. Hey, look, you can tell me you're gonna pray all you want to, but it's a reason why poverty exists. It's not by accident. We live in capitalism. Understand that capitalism is what it is. It's not gonna change. It's been this way for 100 years. Do you think that if I was your mentor in business, that I would come to you and tell you, hey, if you start this up, you're gonna make X amount of dollars? And see, this is reality. This is the reality of business. And LaTanya can tell you this. She started in business 3 to 5 years ago. 5 years ago, and 3 years ago in credit. LaTanya is turning profits, and I'm not trying to like brag openly in a way that's gonna be disrespectful to her, but LaTanya makes profits. She makes profits. Her business is in profit. Your business isn't. It didn't take.
And he knows that he's my tax professional. All right, so he knows my income. And so you need a profit, PROPHET, mentor, and you need profits, PROFIT. Now, this is the thing. Christians, or kingdom citizens rather, they don't want to learn about another thing. Third thing you need, or fourth thing you need, I don't know what number I'm on, is a place. All of this is in 2 Kings chapter 4. I've been coming before people telling them you need a home-based business. This lady went to the prophet. He told her to start a business so she can make profits, right, with the F, in her house. If you pay rent or mortgage in a house, a condo, or an apartment, your utilities, you should be getting money back that you're spending out, because at that point, your house, as Robert Kiyosaki teaches and educates, your condo, your apartment, your townhouse, whatever it is not an asset to you. If it takes money out of your pocket every month, it's a liability. But if you transform those into home-based businesses, the money on the maintenance, utilities, your cell phone bill, right, can be tax deductible, where you can get some of that money flowing back to you. These are the principles the church needs to teach so that their citizens can enter into the kingdom on earth and prosper better financially. The last P, because I'm in my alliteration, so you need a profit, you need a plan, you need profits, you need a place. There's 4 P's. I've been telling you all, get with the home-based business, less than $249 to invest in. So it can produce the 5th P, passive income from you. If you always work a job, you'll always be an economic slave, because jobs are taxed higher than any other form of making money. So you need passive income, whether it's through writing books, your intellectual property, whether it's doing, like my intellectual property is credit repair and restoration, getting better at public speaking, right? And I too will be the author of books. So when I become a millionaire, what are you all gonna tell me? That millionaire and, you know, Christianity doesn't mix? Well, I'm sorry, too late. I ain't falling for that. So the last thing, as Sean says, the Great Reset we're going into is about to make those who are awakening so wealthy. There will be classes. Sean, this is what I've been telling people. Taking is going to be rich and poor. Middle class is gone. With that stimulus, right? For example, with the stimulus package, the only people that's going to qualify for the $600 are the people who incomes, let me pull this up on my phone. I think it's $79,000 a year. So if your income, I'm sorry, $75,000. I put $4,000 on it. The stimulus checks up to $600 per person, which means you and your children will be the dependents, right? You and your children, not your college child, right? Not your parent that you may be caretaker of, right? Children 18 under. And your income for the 600 has to be 75,000 annual or less. If you make over 75,000, that $600 will be reduced. Now, the unemployment $300, which is supposed to go into effect December 27th, because December 25th on Christmas, right? That's the last $300 unemployment for the year. Although it's dated December 31st, the last full week of December is December 25th, Christmas Day. So it will actually end on Christmas Day, the last full week. So the next $300 will kick in December 27th. However, we don't know how many weeks that will take to transfer. So it will be a temporary delay. And that money is not retroactive. It's no back pay, right? No lump sum. Whatever weeks missed, if $300 was not applied to you for unemployment, is just money missed. So states will have to have their unemployment system set up in order to now kick in the $300 from the federal. So let's hope that happens sooner than later. So I've been coming to you all talking. Sean says the book Bitcoin and Black America, a very powerful book. I have been dropping knowledge about that book, Sean. Actually, one of my co-workers ordered that book for a read for his mother. I thought that was so nice. I came before you all and told you about that book. And here it is. Bitcoin and Black America. I brought this to you all, right? I'm not an affiliate, doesn't get any affiliate, just trying to educate you all financially. So the last P, are you down with OPPs? Are you down with profits, other places to get money from other than a job? Are you down with other plans? Then, because your plan is not working, your way is not working. I give you a plan and a blueprint. I come before you, tell you the books to read, tell you that we're headed to digital cash and currency, right? Every institution should teach folks. Yeah, because my thing is, if these are biblical principles, why isn't the church? I think now this is my problem or my issue. If these are biblical principles, then the church should be teaching it. Whether the pastor is a millionaire, billionaire, or a broke heir. These are biblical principles that should be taught in the church. Robert Kiyosaki should not have to teach the church biblical principles, but he is. Robert Kiyosaki is teaching. He tells you to get network marketing, get a home-based business. He tells you about the tax laws and the loopholes of the rich. He tells you that if your paycheck, right, you're living paycheck to paycheck, and Dr. Lynn Richardson tells you about a home-based business, all these biblical principles, all of this stuff is biblical, right? It all comes from the Bible. They're writing it in a way just so people can understand. And this is biblical too. This is what Luke 16:8 states. that the Lord commended the unjust steward because he had done wisely. For the children of this world are in their generation wiser than the children of the light. Or they are wiser. People of the secular world are wiser than believers. They are wiser than believers. Why haven't you read your book yet? Why haven't you invested in home-based business? Why are you getting 30? Why are you making 60 to 40 cents on the dollar out of your paycheck? Why haven't you learned passive income stream? T.D. Jakes teaches this as well. He teaches this from the books of Genesis, that the Garden of Eden had different streams coming in and how they represent multiple streams of income. How long do you think you're going to make it on a job, one stream of income? The job is just over broke. Why are you paying 30 to 20% of your paycheck in federal taxes and President Trump is paying out $700? Why are you paying this amount in taxes and Jeff Bezos is getting a tax refund? Let me show it to you. And pays no federal taxes. And on top of that, gets money from the government as well as Kanye West. That's one of the reasons why Kanye West started, what's the name of his thing? Church, something with the church. He started a nonprofit organization because they understand corporations. They understand business, just like the woman in 2 Kings chapter 4. So Amazon not only paid zero in federal taxes, and they say partially thanks to Trump or whatever, right? But also on top of that, worth $800 billion. See, people don't have a problem with Jeff Bezos worth $800 billion. Just let a pastor be worth that much. But they're doing the same business principles, right? But anyway, in fact, Amazon, listen, is actually getting $129 million tax refund. I'm gonna let this stay highlighted for a second. $129 million tax refund. Pay zero for the second year in a row in federal taxes. Zero. And getting $129 million tax refund. What's the name of Kanye's thing? Sunday something. Sunday service, trademarked it, went to the church, got his nonprofit money on it, and Kanye got a tax refund back as well. Listen, the gospel is tax-free money. Hey, just being honest with you. You won't believe how many churches don't keep correct books, accounting records. You're tithing into these churches. They're not keep accurate accounting records. They're not keep accurate books. You're giving your money into it. God says, biblically, the Bible says to do business until I return. But if you're under a church that's not doing business, then you know what? You're not going to be prosperous as well. So this is what most people or most churches are teaching. 6 ways to experience a harvest, right? When you sow your seed or when you give. It tells you to, number 1, know how to give. Well, what does that mean? I think it should be know who to give to. Right? Again, Paul in 2 Corinthians chapter 9 talks about false prophets. Not everybody that preaches the gospel is, God said that many will say to me, the last day, God, haven't I healed the sick? Right? Haven't I done all of these acts? And he said, depart from me, you workers of iniquity. I know you not. So they said know how to give, but I think it's more important to know who to give to. Then one of the things says give with no strings attached. Listen, that's not biblical. That's not biblical. You've been taught to give with no strings. That's not biblical. The Bible states that you should give with the expectation to receive. See, King Solomon, for example, when he gave so much of a worship offering. It prompted God to ask him, what do you want? See, you can give to such and such that God will come and visit you and say, hey, what do you want? What can I grant for you? Now, I'm not saying he's a genie. I'm not. But your giving and your worship gets God's attention. And King Solomon said, you know what? I want wisdom. I want to be the wisest person. So when people tell you to give with no expectation, that's with no strings attached, that's not biblical. That is not biblical. When you are giving, you ought to tell or request, because you're a kingdom citizen. God, as a citizen, I'm exercising my kingdom rights to get this done. Give me the wisdom. Give me the knowledge. This should be the first thing we ask for. Give me wisdom and knowledge of money management and recognizing how to invest my knowledge. Yeah, and because of his worship and giving, God gave him wisdom and gave him more. He sure did, spiritual man. Thank you, Sean. And Sean, I'm surprised we get along, because you do know that was my ex-husband name, right? Sean says, my words are not falling on deaf ears. Again, the Bible says, my people perish because of lack of knowledge. The church, the majority, not all of them, have a lack of knowledge concerning these things. Right? Is it Jeremiah 6 says, my people have been lost sheep. Their shepherds have led them astray and caused them to roam on the mountains. They wandered over mountains and hills and forgot their own resting place. Wow. And that's what I was teaching about the Wizard of Oz, right? Dorothy always was trying to return to home. And the Wizard of Oz teaches you about the monetary and the gold and silver standards. You all should watch that on my YouTube video if you haven't. Teaches about gold and silver is money, right? It's legal money. It's God money. You take the L out of gold, and what do you have? God. Do you possess any gold? 24 karat gold. Now, I'm not talking about 14K. But even if you got 14K, at least have that. And gold is an attractor of wealth. Do you have anything that attracts wealth to you besides your giving, right? My evangelist says we need a prophet, a mentor, need a plan of action. Thank you for taking notes. Appreciate that, because I do have one more P. You all gonna like this, and it's going to come from Master P. I'm going to show you all a video clip, so stay on. You need a prophet, which is also a mentor. Need a plan of action. Need profit. You're right. Need a place. Get your home-based business, and you need passive income. Thank you so much. I have one more. Right. Sean says, follow that yellow brick road. Put your silver slippers on and follow the yellow brick road. Someone says, I got gold. Oh, I used to have a gold tooth. I really did. Right. Right. The whistle behind the curtain is the Fed. Control of the federal. Who is the federal government? Federal government is who's taking taxes out your check. You got taxes taken out your checks. You got what's that other? I'm thinking I'm gonna say it wrong, so I'm not gonna say it. But you got your insurances, right? I'm about to say and your health insurances and all that, right? So Kanye West, he got out of that. He said, let me create a nonprofit. Then this one, another one this church is teaching, check your soil. Now this one I do agree with. I do agree with checking your soil. You have to know, like, if in 2 Kings, if the widow woman didn't go to Elijah, who had prosperity on his life, she wouldn't have got that plan. She wouldn't have got that financial plan of action. Listen, that woman started broke. And he said, look, start a business. I'm going to tell you what the last P is from Master P. And I'm going to tie this into 2 King. And then he said, instead of having your sons to work for somebody else, I'm going to flip the script and show you how to have your sons to work for you in the home-based business. Did you all know that you can pay your children and be a tax write-off up to $12,000 to work for you in your dwelling place, resident in a home-based business? And why is this a big deal, Queen? Because let me tell you, a lot of people will not get tax returns this year. They're getting this unemployment money, which is taxable income. So people that's accustomed to getting $10,000, $8,000, they're not going to get tax return. Some people might even owe back. I saw a post on Twitter that a man said that unemployment is telling him that he owes about $2,300 back. The Bible said give to Caesar, or the feds, what belongs to Caesar. He didn't say overpay him. And he said give to God what belongs to God. Right? So you do need to check your soil. Check who you're giving to. And it says plant what you expect to harvest. Now, I don't know if I really believe in this one, because God can take you a little and make it your a lot. I have a mentor who's helping me with the book, and he's writing a second book. The title of his second book is Get Your Cake Up. It's about the woman who gave the prophet a little. Her son was about it. That's why I'm so excited about my book, Woman Thou Art Wealthy. And men, I'm not trying to leave you all out. You know, I might have to call it Men You Are Wealthy as well. But I love, because God uses so many women in the Bible who went from broke to blessed. So this other lady in the Bible, her son was about to die. She said, look, I just have a little bit of bread. I just got a little bit of cake. You're a prophet. You want to take that little bit from me? Well, she didn't know the prophet was eating at the brook, right? The ravens was bringing him food and water. And God said, look, this widow woman, she's struggling. I want you to get up and go to her. He wasn't hungry. He didn't even have to seek food. God had put him in such a position that the raven was bringing him food, right? And he said, and just read the scripture. Say, I want you to go to her. She's struggling. She's been praying about some things. And this is where prayer will help you. This is where prayer can help you now. She was praying. She just had a little bit of dough. A little dough. You know how you like that? Dough is money, right? Some people call money dough. So she made her son. She said, look, son, this is all we had to eat. A lot of people right now are saying they're experiencing food shortage, right? Kids are going hungry. And so she had a little dough. The prophet came. And when the prophet came, he gave her the plan. And she listened. She executed. He said, give me a little bit. Give me a little piece of that cake. Could have been like a lot of people. What? This is my last. You mean, Queen, you tell me to take this last bit of money and invest it? This little bit that I got? You telling me that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, that we're moving to a great reset in a new world order, and that this crypto stuff is really going to be legit? Are you telling me that if I purchase silver at $26 an ounce, that silver within the next year or two could be up to $200 an ounce and I can get a return on my investment? You're telling me if I get gold at $1,800, I think, or $1,900 right now, which is also why the Wizard of Oz is called Oz, because this is in ounces, ounce of silver and gold. That gold can be worth $5,000 or maybe $10,000 capital gains. So she did act on faith. She acted on faith, gave him a little piece. Just a little piece. I might need to make that another piece. Let me take notes, because all you need is sometimes a little piece. They're saying XRP, for example, this is not financial advice. This is not financial advice, because you have to have a certain mindset, right? A mindset for prosperity. But XRP, this is just one I'm throwing out here. XRP XLM is at, and because I'm trying to help people, is at 56 cents. 56 cents, less than $1. XLM this is crypto. Let's see how much XLM is. 18 cents. And in this digital transfer, this transfer of wealth that we're heading to, it stated that XLP, Ripple, XLM will be used for the banking transaction. And that they could go up to hundreds of dollars. Now, if you're a person, you don't have a little piece to invest, I'm sorry, but God gives everybody a little piece, right? You look, I know some of you are arguing about this $600, but there's a little piece. That's a little piece. That is a little piece. My daughter took $500 into Bitcoin earlier. She just wanted to invest a little piece, $500. And now her $500 has produced 3 times the investment. She has flipped $500 to $1,500. And Bitcoin is not even finished doing what it's going to do yet. She has not got the compound interest. So all you need is a little piece, just a little piece. So she gave her a little piece, the prophet, and then the prophet gave her a plan. And the plan produced prosperity, right? So you need mentors, you need prophetic people. Robert Kiyosaki is a very prophetic prophet, and they don't have to be people in the church, right? Sean says, I'm not waiting on Jesus. I'm walking in his footsteps. Peter, such a little faith. If you only have faith of a mustard seed, you can move mountains. And you know what, people, and that's another thing, you do have to have faith. In order to have faith, you're going to have to produce the mindset. That's why, and Kevin stated this in his live stream. I didn't continue to play it. But the Bible states some water, right? And some plant. But it is God who gives the increase. It's 1 Corinthians. Man, you all just don't know how much I love teaching biblical prosperity. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Because I'm tired of seeing God's kids, king's kids suffer. The king's kids, right? 1 Corinthians, I plant the seed. Apollos watered it. But God is making it grow. It's neither, right? So neither the one who plants nor the one who waters anything, but only God can make it grow. Now listen at this. The one who plants have a purpose. I hope I'm planting some faith in you and some financial wisdom. And the one who waters have a purpose. That means when you give to people that plant to you, you have to water sometimes, right? You do have to water, but you do have to sow as well. And if the world, the secular world, knows more about prosperity, then why aren't you sowing into their secular products? I'm looking at my phone because I constantly get notifications about my investments. We are all co-workers in God's service. You are God's field. We're supposed to be his field. We're supposed to be his field. We're supposed to look in his image and likeness. You're not supposed to be walking around broke. And the world is not supposed to be wiser, but they are, about biblical kingdom prosperity, right? But they are. So let's get to this last P, right? Let's get to this last P. You're down with OPP, right? You're down with OPP. You need a product or service. You need a product or service. You got a home-based business, you need a product or service. And you definitely need a product or service that's going to be needed in this recession. And that's why my home-based business helps people with their taxes and also their credit and money management. Now, if you don't think people are going to need that during a recession, then I don't know. I don't want products where people are trying to beautify themselves in a recession. You know, people don't care how ugly they look when they're broke. I promise you they don't. They will cry a river of tears on you. Snot will come out their nose when they're broke. The last thing they're worried about is their appearance. Their hair budget will go down. Their nail budget will. For men, their recreation budget. right? Your toys. They'll not buy that PS5 when they broke, right? So let's get the other P from the master P, right? Product and or service. So let me share this with you all. And don't take this lightly. It took a whole lot of my time and research to put this together, right? It took a whole lot of my time and research to break down what I want to share, what clip I want to share, to look at the clips, to edit them, right? To keep your attention, to not play the entire videos. So I hope that you're gaining the knowledge. And I'm gonna be honest with you all, sometimes you have to give in order to acquire the knowledge. You have to give to the person that's giving it to you. My mentor, he asked me for a very small, he stayed on the phone with me over 20 minutes mentoring me, dropping game and jewels for my book. He only asked for $1, but I gave him more than that because I know what I was sowing and giving into. And I know where he could take me. And that's when he said, why did you give me this money? I only asked for $1. I said, no, my spirit told me to sow more because I know where I want to go. Right? Sometimes all you need is a piece, but sometimes God will require more. And you're giving and you're sowing. But your only means of giving does not just need to be in the church, in the spiritual world. You need to give into where the physical economy is heading as well, and you need to get your financial literacy and financial education. As my mentor said, you need to get your cake up. Right? So let's watch this by Master P. The last P, product or service. Make sure my volume is up.
You out there, don't be scared to start your own business. You know, most people think you gotta wait till you get older to start a business, but I think if you start youthfully, then you'll be in business a long time.
You got to give it a shot.
Yeah, you
You have
can't
to take a chance, and you got to go. Yeah.
You got to be able to take a chance. I mean, what my music business was like, I tell people it's almost like the Avon business. You know, I started selling CDs at the trunk of my car.
Now, how did that work? Because you got a record store and you see what people are buying, and you say to yourself, and forgive me if this is, I'm just putting words in your mouth here. You say to yourself, well, heck, I can do this. Is that pretty much what happened?
Well,
so then you start making your own music?
Well, basically, like you listen to the product, and by me being in there and being able to be a retailer, I know what the audience wanted. I say, well, you know what? I think I could make this type of material. And what I did was I went in the studio and put it together.
Right.
And I knew exactly what the retailers wanted. And I think that's good to be able to learn the business from the downside and be able to know what from a consumer standpoint. I think that was my success was mainly from just knowing what the consumer wanted. I always gave people more for their money.
So this is a great combination because you have music talent and you also have great business acumen, and you put them together, you're making these things, and you start selling them out of the trunk of your car, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're just driving around and...
I went to every city.
Yeah.
Every city. I mean, started from Richmond, California to New Orleans to New York to Chicago.
In the beginning, how many did you sell?
Well, basically, I started out selling like 1,000, then I'll move up to 5,000. But when I started, you got to do a promotion just to sell in other cities to make distributors want to buy your product. So what I do is I go in every city and I give away 100 tapes. I look for the cars with the bump, with the sound, going all the hoods, and I just give away 100. I look for the best 100 cars I could see, or somebody that carrying a boombox, and that's the way I did my promotions, you know. And then I go back to the distributors and ask them, do they want to buy this?
Yeah.
You know, it happened to be a hot item on the street. I tell all the youth out there, don't be scared to start your own business. You know, most people think you got to wait till you get older to start a business, but I think if you start youthfully, then you'll be in business a long time.
You got to give it a shot.
Yeah, you
have to
can't
take a chance, and you got to go. Yeah.
You got to be able to take a chance. I mean, what my music business was like, I tell people it's almost like the Avon business. You know, I started selling CDs at the trunk of my car.
Now, how did that work? Because you got a record store and you see what people are buying, and you say to yourself, and forgive me if this is, I'm just putting words in your mouth here. You say to yourself, well, heck, I can do this. Is that pretty much what happened? Well, so then you start making your own music?
Well, basically, like you listen to the product, and by me being in there and being able to be a retailer, I know what the audience wanted. I say, well, you know what? I think I could make this type of material. And what I did was I went in the studio and put it together.
Right.
And I knew exactly what the retailers wanted. And I think that's good to be able to learn the business from the downside and be able to know what from a consumer standpoint. I think that was my success was mainly from just knowing what the consumer wanted. I always gave people more for their money.
So this is a great combination because you have music talent and you also have great business acumen, and you put them together. You're making these things, and you start selling them out of the trunk of your car, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you just driving around and
I went to every city.
Yeah.
Every city. I mean, started from Richmond, California to New Orleans to New York to Chicago.
in the beginning, how many did you sell?
Well, basically, I started out selling like 1,000, then I'll move up to 5,000. But when I started, you got to do a promotion just to sell in other cities to make distributors want to buy your product. So what I do is I go in every city and I give away 100 tapes. I look for the cars with the bump, with the sound, going all the hoods, and I just give away 100. I look for the best 100 cars I could see, or somebody that carrying a boom box, and that's the way I did my promotions, you know. And then I go back to the distributors and ask them do they want to buy this.
Yeah.
You know, it happened to be a hot item on the street. I tell all the youth out there.
All right, so I got 2 more P's out of that from listening to his interview. He talked about promoting. You won't believe how many people ask me, right? Do I have to be a salesman for my home-based business? You're not going to promote the business, then who's going to know about it? And I tell people all the time, no, you don't, right? You can just get the principles for you, get more money out of your paycheck, right? You can do nothing but help yourself, get your credit up, get your cake up, get more money out of your paycheck legally, because now you have 475 tax deductions with the home-based business versus 15 as employee. But why wouldn't you try to get more passive income? Because that income is not taxed like your job income. So you have to promote. Yes, you do. He said he went to different cities. And the other P that I got out of it is you got to have passion. He had passion about what he was doing. He knew who to market to and how to market. He said, I look for people that had the boom box, that had the booming cars, right? You got to know who to promote to. You won't believe how many people in the home-based business say, I talk to my friends and family. Look, why are you talking to broke people about financial prosperity anyway? And they didn't want to join the business. They got a 500 credit score. They have no passive income. Well, Queen, where do I find the people? That's what the home-based business called networking. It gives you the mindset. And once you get the mindset, once you take the action, the law of attraction kicks in for you and you will attract those people. You have to promote. Nobody's going to knock on your door to be a part of your home-based business, but you got to have a place. Apartment, townhouse, or a house, right? Condo. And you got to have passion about what you're doing, right? You got to be passionate about it. And you got to have patience. Sometimes, let me put the other P in. As Kevin said, it takes time when you start a business to make profits, but yet you'll work a job for 30 years. And now your 401k is going to be taken and your pension funds, they're going to rob you of that when the stock market crash, right? You'll work a job for 40 years, but you won't have the patience to work a business for 3 or 5 years. Like Kevin told you, I started this home-based business 5 years ago, right? My other mentor in the home-based business, Brian Beam, he started 20 years ago. I don't expect to have Brian Beam's results, right? And so started this. Now, the only thing that I'm saying that even with gold and silver, it may take a year. However, because of the timing and the wealth transfer that we're in, and because we're moving to digital currency, if you don't catch this wave of learning cryptocurrency, then you're going to be that class that's going to be left behind. That means you're going to be dropped down from middle class, right, to now the poverty class, and the rich are getting richer. Did you all know that over 600 billionaires are now trillionaires in this pandemic? Did you all know that? So if you want business, if you want information about the home-based business, here's the link for that. It's right now $249. So that's the link for that. one-time investment, right? Bitcoin cryptocurrency, I'm thinking about doing a Patreon channel here. And thank you, Jimbo, for the $1.99 super chat. I greatly appreciate that, right? Greatly appreciate that. So I'm thinking about doing a Patreon channel where you pay a monthly or invest a monthly prescription, right? And you learn about cryptocurrency and the digital dollar. But for 2 weeks, I'm going to be focused on, I have the one book, Woman Thou Art Wealthy, I already typed up from years ago. Then my second book would be Credit Rich, right? Teaching people the credit game and how to use debt to invest and get assets with and not liabilities. How to get cash flowing to you and not flowing from you through your credit, right? Because most of consumers have only taught to use credit to get things, liabilities, depreciated assets like vehicles. I would never buy a new vehicle. I would either lease for the tax deductions or I would buy pre-used. I would never buy new vehicles. Depreciation asset, right? My house, yes, my house is a liability, but I make it an asset through my home-based business. Some of the money I spend out, even my groceries, right? And my daughter, before she turned 21, paid her in the business for home, for tax deduction. Instead of paying her, what do they call it? An allowance, right? Pay her through the home-based business, created a 1099 for her, got some of that money back. And then when she took the money and then and groceries were made through that, especially for some of the men that's paying out child support. It's other ways for you to get that money back legally, right? Through a home-based business and just restructuring how you're paying your children. Again, you're right, Sean. You can call me a prophetess, right? Robert Kiyosaki is the prophet. But 2021 is the bull run for crypto. It's predicted that Bitcoin can reach up to, I be a little bit, and some people are saying 100K, some people are saying 50K, right? So you got to get your faith up. And let me end on this on Bitcoin. Someone asked me about the legitimacy of Bitcoin. But listen, Bitcoin, if you follow the S&P 500, right? Bitcoin and the S&P 500, they correlate close together. If the S&P 500 is in the green, it's in the positive, then Bitcoin will be in the positive, right? When the stimulus announcement came up, Bitcoin was slightly in the red. It had took a little dip, like 2%. And now it's back up at 2.13%. It's currently at $23,020. So it's back up when the announcement of the stimulus was made a couple of hours ago. And so what happens with Bitcoin, and even Bitcoin Cash is doing good right now. So I will have a Patreon channel, monthly subscription, us just getting together, talking about these crypto and its changes. I will try to create that, right? So now Tesla has entered the S&P 500. Now, let me tell you what companies are, or show you what companies are in the S&P 500 and how that, if you monitor, right, closely relates to Bitcoin. So let me show you some of the big companies that's in the S&P 500 and why Tesla movement is great news for Bitcoin, right? So you have Apple, right? You have Microsoft. We just talked about Jeff Bezos, Amazon, Facebook, who's also into Demecoin, right? Crypto exchange, Tesla now, right? Google, two Googles, Berkshire Hathaway, who's telling you that crypto is the future. And so Berkshire Hathaway, Johnson & Johnson, JP Morgan Chase, who's into Bitcoin now. Visa, this is the big thing. Visa, that's also into Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, right? Offering on this Visa and cashback rewards. Procter & Gamble, United Way, Walt Disney, right? So these are the big hitters that's in S&P, and S&P and Bitcoin and cryptocurrency run closely together. So with Tesla becoming an S&P, right, it will make, you know, this stay more stable and get more bigger, which will keep Bitcoin running the way it is, right? So Tesla stocks right now is $6.95 a share, and the market is already up 6% just because of that chess move. So I don't know. I mean, you listen to some people, you have to do your own due diligence and research, right? Thank you, Tab, with her notes. My beautiful, yes, Tron is good. If you all don't know about Tron, actual Kobe Bryant was promoting that, right? I also have crypto that is backed by physical gold, right? So I also have crypto that's backed by physical gold. So that's what my Patreon channel with the subscription will be for. We're going to talk about these things. I want to attract people like Sean, like more people with a mindset to invest. You know, when you get random people that come in, they can really be a distraction on your live stream. So I want to have a different set of mindset of people with a subscription, so we can talk and collaborate on these things. So that I will create that for YouTube. And even we can discuss some credit issue that will arise in the future as well. So Tabitha, thank you again, hon, for the notes. You said need a product or service, need to have passion, need to have patience. And the other P is that you have to promote, right? You can't be afraid to talk to someone about your home-based business or that you're investing in income, crypto, or because you're trying to increase your income, right? So you have to, Sean, I want you to be a part of my Patreon channel. So things like this is only what people in the Patreon channel will get information and exposure to. So I will try to set that up by this week. This is going to be a busy week for me. So just give me time. And because I don't, even the Bible says, not to give the children's bread to the dog. And so when you're attracting people, that mindset is not on this wavelength, they're just distractions. So I'm going to have that for those people. And then the stuff that we just talk about publicly and the economy, it's for I can have for people that this mindset is on that wavelength. So, hey, I'm signing out. Thank you all so much, right, for tuning in. I really enjoyed this tonight. I won't even get into the Trump video, but if you want to watch it, it is on Twitter. It doesn't even matter at this point, right? I didn't even know it was this late. It's almost 10 o'clock my time. So thank you all for tuning in. This is to your health and your wealth, right? Your peace and prosperity and your credit and your cash flow. Queen of Credit out. You all have a great, great night.